That's right, guys. Adam here, and this week I've been driving the 2020 Jaguar I-Pace. Now, this isn't a vehicle that I was very familiar with when they first dropped it off for me to test drive. I've heard of it, but I haven't dug into it very much. I have now, got a lot of information on it. We're gonna go through all of that. Let's get into it. All right, so first of all, the I-Pace is an all-electric SUV produced by Jaguar. It was introduced in 2018 and is the brand's first all-electric SUV. Now, of course, Jaguar paid close attention to the styling, the looks and feel of this to really make it feel and look like a Jaguar, despite it being an all-electric SUV. And we're going to talk about the exterior styling, the interior, the drive, everything about it. But first, let's talk about the different SUV models that Jaguar sells and the trims that the I-Pace is available in. So recently with Jaguar, I drove the XE, their sport luxury sedan. I've also driven the XJ before and their F-Type. But as far as SUVs go for Jaguar, this is the first Jaguar SUV that I've driven. So just going through it, the SUV lineup includes the F-Pace, which is a luxury performance SUV, the E-Pace, which is a compact SUV, and this I-Pace, the all-electric performance SUV. So as far as trim levels go on the I-Pace, you have the S, the SE, and the HSE, which is the top of the line, and that's what we're driving here. Now, Jaguar has taken a lot of its technical knowledge from the E-Trophy race series where they race the I-Pace and really put it into this car to help develop range boosting software for I-Pace customers. All the changes they've made since 2018 when this was launched have helped improve the battery performance, giving 12 extra miles of range. All right, with that, let's take a look at the exterior and see what we think. All right, so first thing I want to talk about with the exterior of this car is the size and proportion of it. I keep calling it an SUV because that's what Jaguar has it classified as, but it's almost really a hatchback or kind of a wagon feel when you're standing beside it and driving it. And that's helped with the air suspension, which we'll talk about a little bit more, but you can raise and lower this car, and at its lowest setting, it really does feel more like a car than it does an SUV. Raise it up to its highest setting, and then it starts feeling more like an SUV. So just jumping a little bit more into the air suspension real quick, the ground clearance can be adjusted at its lowest setting from 5.6 inches. You have the access height, which is 7.5 inches, a max load height at 9.1 inches, and the highest, the off-road setting, is 11 inches. So this thing can definitely get up there high, and with its all-wheel drive, can actually do some off-roading. Now, unfortunately, with my time with this vehicle, I wasn't able to take it off-road. I didn't do any off-roading in it. But during some of my research, I did see some videos where people were taking this off-road, and it seemed to handle pretty well. I was pretty impressed with it being an all-electric car doing some off-roading. But to me, that would be pretty scary with that battery pack being in the floor. If you ever did bottom out or scrape anything, that would be pretty detrimental to the car. All right, next up, let's talk about the headlights. This does have the automatic leveling headlight system. So it does automatically level your headlights no matter what your air suspension is set to. This one has the premium LED headlights with signature daytime running lights. You also get front and rear fog lights. The signature Jaguar grille with that Jaguar face up front has a gloss black with satin chrome surround. And you can see most of the trimming around the vehicle is also gloss black. Moving along to the side of the car, you do have auto dimming, power folding, heated side mirrors with a puddle lamp. They do automatically fold in when the car is locked. As you come up and push the button on the door handle, the mirrors will fold out and the door handles fold out. So these are door handles flush with the exterior when it's locked up. And as you want to get into the car, they come out and give you a little pull. Again, on the exterior here, You get that gloss black cladding. You get a pretty nice looking profile. Like I said, I think it looks more like a wagon or station wagon than it does an SUV. It's a pretty nice profile, and you get the Jaguar lettering along with the HSE to let you know that this is the top of the line trim. Standard wheels on the HSE are 20-inch wheels, but we have 22-inch 5 split spoke gloss dark gray with contrast diamond turned finishing. These are a $1,700 option on this car. Moving along to the rear of the car, you do have this nice tailgate spoiler to help with that sporty look of the vehicle. You also have this cute little deck lid spoiler that is body colored, also pretty nice. And next up, you have the LED headlights here. You have that Jaguar badge, the I-PACE badge, and your EV400 all-wheel drive badge. And you also have the gloss black rear fascia there. And this blue color we have here is called Cassium Blue. It is a $710 option, but I think it looks really nice on this vehicle. You also might be interested in the drag coefficient. Obviously, with an EV, you want to be as efficient as possible. This thing has been designed to the T and has a drag coefficient of 0.29. All right, and while we're back here looking at the rear, let's check out the cargo hatch. Now you do have a button here, a button on the key, and a button inside to pop the hatch. And it has a good amount of space. The cargo volume here is 25.3 cubic feet behind those rear seats. They are 60-40 split, so you can fold them down. And with those folded down, you get 51.0 cubic feet of cargo space. All right, and with that, let's check out what's under the hood here. And obviously, with this being a fully electric car, no need for an engine, so you actually get a small frunk, and that is 0.95 cubic feet, basically just enough room to store that charger, maybe a small handbag if you wanted, not much else. And the charger here is a pretty large block. It does have a 110 plug on the end and a pretty hefty, beefy thing. Jaguar does have a network of fast chargers. We'll talk a little bit more about charging in just a second. All right, so it's pretty obviously you don't have a traditional setup here. It is an all-electric car, so no engine under the hood, just that frunk. The engines are, and yes, I said engines, one is in the back, one is in the front. There's two engines giving this the all-wheel drive capability. So these are permanent magnet synchronous motors. In total, you're looking at 394 horsepower and 512 foot-pounds of torque. And that's all run through a single speed transmission, much like the Tesla and many other electric vehicles do. The battery is a battery tray that's way low in the chassis of the vehicle, and this has 432 individual cells. So range, as far as the EPA is considered, it has 234 miles of range at a full charge. Your miles per gallon equivalent, city miles per gallon is 80 and highway is 72. And again, that's miles per gallon equivalent for the EV. Charge times with that 115 volt home power outlets, it's quite a bit of time to charge, much more than a day. On a 230 volt outlet, you're looking at 0 to 100 in 12.9 hours. And with the fast charger at Jaguar's fast charging station, you're looking about 2 hours to go from dead to full. So obviously that's always been a big complaint with EVs, the charging time, especially if you're charging at home and you don't have time to run to a quick charger and sit for a couple of hours. But with that 234 mile range, it shouldn't be too bad for day-to-day driving if you don't go too far. You can also see here beside the driver's door and the front wheel, there is a little door for plugging in your charger. Obviously having it in the front instead of the rear helps for if you're parked and plugging it in easier with a shorter cord. And it closes up nicely. Pretty standard operating for an EV. All right, so with this being an SUV, you're obviously going to be carrying stuff and people in this car. So let's check out the back seats and see how they are. Now you can unlock the car from any door, which I think is great, and it's still that pull open handle. All right, with the rear seats, one of the biggest complaints I've heard about this car is the step in here. It is a pretty wide step in, and if the car is at all raised, it makes it even harder to get in. Right now, it's at its lowest point, but you do get decent space back here. This seat is positioned basically where my driving position is, and I got plenty of knee clearance, and there's a little cutout here in the seat to help with that. I do have plenty of headroom back here thanks to this panoramic sunroof, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. You do have a pull down armrest with cup holders and some storage. These are also heated seats back here. So you got two heated seat buttons. You also got two USB ports for charging and a 12-volt accessory port for charging. And you might be wondering what this contraption is here on the back of the front seat. And quite frankly, I don't know. I don't know either. It comes with the rear seat convenience package, but everything that I looked up, I couldn't figure out exactly what it's used for. It looks like a hanger. This one is just a little hook, so maybe that's what it's for. But for the life of me, I couldn't figure it out. If you guys know, please enlighten me in the comments below. But with that, let's move into the front seat and check out the rest of the interior. All right, so let's start off with the interior color here, which is a light ebony oyster with black leather and accents. These seats here are Windsor leather sport seats with perforated leather and white stitching. Really nice and quite comfortable. We do have a Meridian surround sound system with 825 watts and 15 speakers in here. And let's really quickly talk about this sunroof. It is a full panoramic roof. It is darkly tinted, which helps prevent the interior from getting too hot on sunny days and obviously blocks out those UV rays from the sun to protect your interior and your passengers. When I first got in this car, I really thought it was going to be that glass that would completely go solid black or completely translucent with maybe a button or knocking on it or whatever. I've seen it before. It's cool technology. This is not that. It's just tinted glass, which is cool. But here in Texas right now, it's been in the 50s. Definitely gets into the upper 90s, 100s during the summertime. And I'm not sure I want this permanently in my car when it gets to that kind of temperatures. Obviously, I haven't tested it out with that kind of temperatures, but I could just imagine. All right, so let's talk about some of the tech in this vehicle, starting off with Jaguar's Touch Pro Duo, which is their two touch screens. Top one is a 10-inch screen, and the bottom one is a 5-inch screen. Now, the Jaguar infotainment system is pretty decent looking, but just like when I drove the XE, this is probably one of the things that bugs me the most. Just the controls and switching between things is super laggy. It is not quick at all. And for a vehicle that's supposed to be a cool tech, new luxury vehicle, it just doesn't do it for me. It's some of it's pretty quick, but a lot of it is really laggy here, which I could deal with the screen up here. But the screen down here, these extra multi-function dynamic dials are cool in concept, but horrible in practice. So you can twist these and that adjusts your temperature. Then you got to wait for it, and then you can pull it and that will adjust your fan speed. And then you can push it, that goes back to the temperature, push it, and that goes to your heated seat options. You also got the screen here that you can do your heated seats here, your climate control here. You've got a couple of different settings here. You can see your phone screen or your radio screen here. Again, it's just a little bit laggy, but the worst part about it is just your taking your concentration off the road as a driver, especially for this multi-touch wheel. It's laggy and you really have to look down at it to know where you're at and what you're doing. Again, I think it's cool in concept, but in practice, I don't think it really works. Something that works much better is this 12.3-inch interactive driver display. And this is a full LCD display that shows obviously your speed, your range that you have, if you're in power or charge modes, all your safety features are displayed on the side, and some other trip stuff. You can obviously adjust what you're seeing up there, but it is a nice display and I really enjoy the full LCD driver information displays. You also get a pretty nice size console here with 2 USB ports and a 12-volt accessory plug. Total in this car, you have 6 USB power sockets and 3 12-volt power sockets. Funnily enough, though, it is only regular USBs. You don't have USB-C, which is fine for some people, but again, if you're going for a tech-focused car, I would like to see newer technology with the USB-C. Of course, that's just me. You do have that drive-by-wire, so selecting your gear here is just done with the touch of a button. So you have drive, neutral, reverse, and park. And they're easily touched. Reverse, you do get a backup camera, and it is a 360 camera, which you can change the angles on if you need to. Really good option there. Over on this side, you do have some of your other mode buttons, including some drive modes, traction, and your height adjustment. And we'll get into the drive modes more as we take it for a drive. So it's definitely a pretty nice interior. Again, the biggest gripe I have is that infotainment system being a little bit laggy and those multi-function buttons not really being as useful as maybe the concept of them. But I do like the interior. It's fun to drive. So let's get into the drive and we'll start to wrap this thing up. Driving the I-Pace is really great. There's one word that really stands out above all else when it comes to the I-Pace, and that is performance. This is really a great performing vehicle. 0 to 60 comes in at just 4.5 seconds, and you have a top speed of 124 miles per hour. It's not all about straight line acceleration though. This thing also handles the corners really well, and the instant torque from those electric motors means you can pull yourself through those corners way faster than most other cars. We also have active air suspension that allows this crossover to be raised and lowered. Highway and cruising speeds keep you at the lowest point. If you want to take it off-road, you can raise it up all the way, but once you hit a certain speed, it will begin to lower once again. We do have the all-wheel drive system, as well as drive modes, including an all-surface mode and an all-weather mode. All right, with that, let's really quickly talk about the price of this vehicle and some of the competition. So base price for an I-Pace is $69,850. This one, with the extra options we have here and the HSE package, brings the MSRP up to $85,970. Yeah, that's a lot. But if you're going to compare it to the competition, you could look at something like the Tesla Model X, which is obviously another fully electric SUV. But of course, that one's going to be more expensive, but it's also faster and bigger. Now, I have driven the Tesla Model X at an event where I got to spend about 15 minutes in the vehicle. I really liked it. I thought it was really nice, but I really haven't spent extensive time in that SUV. Another one that I haven't driven at all is the Audi e-tron, which is Audi's all-electric SUV. That too is more expensive than this, and it's actually a bit slower than this. Now, if you're just looking for the fully electric features and not necessarily the bigger SUV size, There's a ton of great electric vehicles on the road now, like the Model 3, the BMW i3, and a slew of others that are much cheaper than this, but still give you a nice electric vehicle drive. But again, as Jaguar names this an SUV, and if you're buying it, you're probably buying it for the extra space. We're really just comparing this with the SUVs. All right, guys, well, that was a lot to cover. I had a great time, a great week with this, great time shooting the video. I hope you guys enjoyed as well. If you did, please hit that thumbs up button. Let me know. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the I-Pace, what Jaguar is doing, electric vehicles in general, whatever. And as always, thanks for watching, guys. All right, guys, I'm glad you made it to the end of the video here. And if you're still watching, I don't mind asking you guys, if you enjoyed it, if you like the content here, please hit that subscribe button. Really appreciate it. We also have another channel called TXGARAGE Newswire, where we post news stories as well as quick drive content, much shorter videos, but just a quick look at some of the vehicles that we're driving way before we get the reviews out and posted. We also have TXGARAGE.com with lots of different contributors there with written content for reviews, news, and event coverage from here in Texas. Whether you're in Texas or not, if you're a car enthusiast, it's a great site to go check out. I'd really appreciate if you did. Again, I appreciate you staying this long in the video and hearing me rant about a little extra stuff. But go check out all of our platforms there. You can check us out on Instagram as well. We do some photos and other cool stuff on Instagram. And something new that we're doing is locals.com. So we're gonna have a txgarage.locals.com. Might sound like a dating website or something, but it's all about local communities, people that are interested in these same things, getting together and talking about those things. So we're starting a txgarage.locals.com. It's kind of like Patreon. You can see your page, but if you want to interact and be involved with a lot of the content, it is a paid thing. Anybody that pays is super appreciated. So go check that out. Check out txgarage.com. Subscribe to the channels here on YouTube. And thanks, guys.